Hi there, and thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the next session for Global Partnerships Day. I'm Caris Roach, Customer Success Team Lead for Partnerize, and I'm excited to be here today to moderate our panel, which looks to discuss how partnership is offering the road to recovery for travel and tourism. I'm delighted to be joined today by some fantastic individuals representing their respective orgs of industry-leading travel and tourism businesses. So let's quickly go through some introductions. First up, we have Matthias, Senior Manager Strategic Initiatives at Expedia Group. Matthias, it's great to have you with us today. I'm sure travel is at the top of your mind, and not just on a professional basis, but also in anticipation of when you'll be able to go back home to visit Sweden. Do you want to give us a bit of a background on yourself and your role at Expedia?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me. Like you say, my name is Matthias. I'm one of the senior managers for strategic initiatives in what we call retail partnerships, which is our partner marketing organization. I've been with Expedia Group in different roles for, I think, about 8 years now, including supply management, B2B sales, affiliate marketing, and now kind of affiliate strategy.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next, we have Matthias number 2, the B2C Marketing Manager International at Condor. Hi, Matthias. It's really lovely to have you with us. I did hear that during COVID, you decided to become a private pilot, and you're currently finishing up your PPL license. So that's such an achievement. Congratulations. I'd love to hear more about that one day. I'm going to pass over to you to introduce yourself and give a little bit more information about your role at Condor.
Sure. Thank you, Caris. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about Condor a little bit, about our affiliate channels, what we do. I've been with the company for almost 10 years. I am currently responsible for Condor's performance channels worldwide, including online and offline marketing in our international markets. And as you said, during COVID, when everything was locked down, I decided to, heck, I love flying. I want to be in the cockpit, and I'm getting my PPL, yes.
Wow. I mean, most people took up knitting, so there you go. Well done.
That's a difference.
Cool. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have Peter, Head of Digital Performance Marketing at Emirates, joining our panel today. How are you, Peter?
Okay, very well, thanks. Nice to be here. I've been at Emirates for about 6 years now, starting off as affiliate channel manager, looking after the affiliate marketing strategy for Emirates worldwide. And then last year, I took on the responsibility for all paid performance marketing channels here at Emirates. So here we go. I hope I'll be able to add some insights to the panel.
Perfect. Wonderful. So diving straight in, let's get the burning question out of the way. There's obviously been a lot of upheaval for travel during the past 18 months, a lot of unknowns, and I think everyone's probably experienced it in some sort of way. And I think our audience would love to hear from you all to understand. The first question is, how did you pivot your partner programs to adapt during the height of the pandemic? So I don't know if anyone in particular wants to go first, or I can pick someone.
I can go first. It's because it was very straightforward with us. We shut down everything. Not much pivoting. Actually, there was no point in engaging with any paid marketing for especially the first time period. So it was very straightforward. Unfortunately, as soon as the country went into complete lockdown and all the planes were forced down to the ground, here at Emirates, we were switching off all our paid marketing channels, not just affiliate marketing, but affiliate was one of them as well.
Yeah.
It was not a technical switch off, so we didn't switch it off completely. We chose to go with 0% commission and asked our partners, whoever can bear with us for the time being, to leave our programs on, and then fortunately some of our partners managed to do that, so it was great to see. Other than that, it was a almost complete shutdown.
Nice. Well, not nice, but yeah, and good sort of reactions, I suppose. Matthias at Expedia, anything you wanted to add to that? Was your strategy different, very similar?
Yeah, so we didn't fully shut off our marketing efforts necessarily. What we looked at mainly is across all of our marketing efforts, we created what we called a recovery framework, where we looked at all the different countries or points of sale that we operate across the globe, and tried to understand what stages of recovery each country might be in, and we're actually still doing this. So we have a 4-phase framework, and so each country is assigned a certain phase and that's based on public information available in that country, such as COVID rates, vaccination rates, but also our own internal travel demand data to understand how is each country performing. And then what we did in the partner marketing channel is we translated those phases into different forms of guidance for our partner managers and our partners in terms of what messaging we thought would be appropriate. So, for example, if in a given country there would be guidance to not travel internationally or even travel within that own country, that would typically be a phase 1 type country, and we would change the imagery that we would be putting out there, for example, or we would change the commercial offering. So we did that quite early on, and that helped quite a bit, I think. And then the other thing that we looked at was, obviously we had an unprecedented amount of cancellations, so that caused quite a lot of challenges in terms of working through exactly helping customers with their modifications, their cancellations, and that obviously then has an impact on our partner marketing in terms of the validations and reconciliation. So that took a little bit longer than we were hoping.
Yeah, I think everyone can probably speak about the validations that came on the back of that. That's really interesting to hear. It sounds like you had quite a reactive approach, which is fantastic. How about you, Matthias, at Condor? Was there any sort of differences coming from the airline perspective?
I think it's there are a lot of similarities to Emirates. When everything started back in 2020, all of our plans for this year came to a sudden stop. This included everything from online to offline marketing, and luckily most partners were understanding. They helped us in every manner possible. We were able to be flexible to push campaigns back further in the year or even cancel campaigns. But all of our planes were grounded, basically. So there wasn't much to sell. Even when the German government started their Fly Home campaign, Condor flew stranded Germans from all over the world back home. I mean, I remember our first flight to Australia, which was great, and it was amazing to see what the team was capable of doing, within hours sometimes, to set up the operations for a flight to Australia. But these flights, however, they weren't sold through our classic channels. They were sold on a special website. So there wasn't, again, nothing to sell, right? But later on that year, once passengers were allowed to travel, once countries like Spain or Greece opened up again, we made sure that our meta platforms were running smoothly, that everything was connected, so that customers could find us if they needed to, if they wanted to travel. But again, the situation back then and even today is super dynamic. This unfortunately doesn't allow us to plan ahead, and as we cannot predict the situation in August. Even today, I don't know what's going on in August or September, right? So most of our affiliate efforts are predominantly, and unfortunately, last-minute campaigns.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Again, though, I think it's kind of a sign of the times.
I can add to this as well. What Matthias is saying is it wasn't only that it was a very limited amount of seats to sell. It was also the case that whenever, and this was very visible on paid search, for example, whenever people were searching and looking for the airline, they were just basically trying to get back home. So it wasn't like need to convince them to travel somewhere, or we want to give them inspiration or anything like that. It was out of necessity.
Sure.
So it just didn't make sense to put money into that.
Yeah, makes sense. I think on the back of that as well, I suppose, how did you handle that communication with the partners that you work with? So did you kind of speak to them And, was that helping when it came to kind of conversations around adapting the program when you had to switch things off and stuff?
Yeah, so we're talking thousands and thousands of sites. So we really focused on our top percentage, our more close partners, and of course we reached out one by one, and we came to an agreement with them. If they could help us, that was great news. If not, then we understood that as well. But overall, we experienced a tremendous amount of support from these publishers. And for the rest, the long tail, we were sending out mass messages.
That's great to hear. Did you guys see any differences?
I would say similar for us. We have partner managers based all across the globe. We have offices in the Americas and Latin America, Asia, Europe, and so we are in touch with our partners regularly, and in particular when there's these challenging circumstances, then we try to work with them as closely as we can and speak to them regularly. But we also did as well mass messaging just to try to keep everyone informed. Also via the Partnerize platform as well, of course.
Great. I think really the unified approach there is definitely around communication is key. So that's always fantastic. Moving on to question 3, how are your businesses seeing travel looking forward? So are there any changes in demand and the types of booking from consumers? Matthias at Condor, I don't know if there's anything that you can add to that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Condor has been Germany's favorite leisure carrier since it was founded. Our target group is thirsty for vacation, right? They just, probably, I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for probably a lot of people right now, right? We are all thirsty for vacation. We had enough of Zoom meetings, home office blues, closed restaurants, and so on. People want to get out. They want to run to the beach. They want to bathe in the sun. They do want to soak up in vitamin D. And you cannot Zoom yourself to the beach, right? You cannot FaceTime yourself to Mallorca. I think this is our major advantage to legacy carriers, as they rely heavily on business travel, which I believe may not come back as quickly as leisure travel. And to answer your question, I think we see a significant increase in demand right now for flights to destinations that are open for tourism. And that applies to all of our flights in the portfolio. So flights, short-haul flights from Frankfurt to Mallorca, for instance, or long-haul flights from Frankfurt to the Dominican Republic. So bookings are coming in with one major key difference, though. Most customers book flights more or less last minute. Whereas before the pandemic, at this time of the year, we would see bookings already for winter and spring to 2022. And right now, that is not the case. Passengers, customers are booking, at least that's our experience, more or less last minute.
Yeah, okay, that's quite interesting.
From a
I think yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say that from an accommodations perspective, which is a large part of our business at Expedia as well, we see customers more and more focused now on cleanliness and hygiene factors of where they're going to stay. Has become very, very important, and we've been working with our supply partners, our hotel partners, to understand what extra COVID measures are they putting in place and presenting that to customers. But then, of course, a focus on flexibility as well. It's become more important than ever for customers to understand, and they want to understand, are they booking refundable? Are they booking non-refundable? What does that mean? And then I think overall what we've seen, and in particular in the US, which is a large market for us, a more focus on slightly longer trips, but more road trips, people driving to different destinations within the country. And also, we're seeing a strong popularity of vacation rental type properties, as opposed to potentially hotels, although hotels are also rebounding, which is nice to see. And in general, I think people are looking for, that flexibility, that comfort. Can I bring my pets along and all that that type of trip, which is I think going to have an impact probably long term as well. But who knows exactly what's going to happen in the future.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, from our end, I think the change in demand absolutely follows all these country regulations that we're seeing. So yes, there is a lot of recovery in the airline space in a lot of countries. Like if you look at the US, it's amazing recovery there, but the big percentage of that is domestic travel. So because we're an international hub here at Emirates, it's very different for us. It's that the recovery for international travel is going to be the last one, and yeah, right now what we see is, you know, countries opening up, countries closing down from one day to another. It's very, very sudden moves, and this is what defines the demand currently. The demand is there. We just can't really pick it up until the regulations become more easier, more straightforward, more easier to understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unknown situation, isn't it? It's just something that none of us have ever gone through before. So I can totally appreciate that people are having to change their angles. Moving on, I think that the audience probably would like to know about collaboration and whether, if you do, or, you know, whether you work across different teams, and has that collaboration increased over the past year for a more unified approach? So I think I'm going to go to Matthias at Condor. Is that something that you've seen?
Yes. So no, the whole marketing team touches base multiple times during the week. Not only because of COVID, that COVID hasn't changed that, the home office situation hasn't changed that either. So we have done this in the past because we take pride in open discussions between other departments like revenue management, communications, product team, and so on. So that hasn't changed, except the talking points, right? For instance, COVID masks on board, or a COVID info video that we created so that our customers know what to expect when they fly. Certain product lines that are not available on board during COVID and are available again, maybe slightly different. Or we talk about the government and their decisions to open up certain destinations. The US, Peter mentioned the US. It's a big part of our business is the routes across the North Atlantic. So this is a very hot topic on a almost daily basis. What will happen? What will we do once the US opens up for tourism from Europe for Europeans? And what will we do once Germany opens up again? For tourism coming from the US. So that is new, the talking points, obviously, and of course the length of the meetings, which have significantly increased since the start of the pandemic.
The volume of meetings as well, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
And I suppose, Matthias, Expedia has a bit of a different approach to the airlines in the sense that you guys have got a bit of a larger product portfolio. Would you say that any sort of collaboration across the teams has increased over there?
Yeah, absolutely. The way that we collaborate has changed over the past 12, 18 months. We've actually historically run our partner marketing channels or affiliate channels within each individual brand that we have. So we've taken the opportunity to bring those together under one department called Retail Partnerships, which is where I work. And that's quite a change for us internally, which is really exciting and has really helped us to understand how do the different brands operate, how can we get some cohesion and alignment in the way that we run our affiliate programs. And that's been really exciting and quite a good, but obviously significant change for us internally.
Nice. Great. So moving on, I think what would be interesting to look at is regionality and how that's looking. So how are you taking a regional approach to partnerships? So is anyone adapting programs as travel opens up in each country, region, and are you leveraging different partner types? I think we've already kind of touched on the as different regions open up. But I suppose it'd be quite interesting to focus here on the different partner types. So anyone particularly focusing on content, anyone looking at those sort of more quick wins, the incentive partners, that sort of thing. I'm going to go to Peter first.
Yeah, so we started up with some of our biggest partners in the metasearch space. That's like a global approach. And as the countries started to open up, as it made sense to go back with some affiliate activity in each bigger country, then we went ahead with our second layer of most revenue generating partners, such as voucher sites, cashback sites. And then we had a local strategy in place even before the pandemic to work with these sites, how we work with them, how they promote our technical campaigns as well. And then we're just returning to these practices with countries that are open up where it makes sense.
Nice. Anyone else have anything to add to that we haven't already covered?
I think the one thing that we're noticing, and this is also pre-pandemic as well, but that there are some regional differences in the types of partnerships we're working on. For example, we're noticing there's a greater prevalence for us of financial institution partnerships, so working with different banks or credit card companies within APAC. And that has been a great type of partnership that we're very excited about as well.
Nice. Sounds interesting. So I think moving on, and I think this is probably present across many sectors, but particularly travel, loyalty is a huge partner type for the travel industry. So how did you navigate the management of your own loyalty programs and any that you had in place with partners? So I'm going to go to Matthias at Expedia, please.
Yeah, sure. So we've had partnerships with loyalty programs, in particular airline loyalty programs, for a long time across the globe. For example, we work with Avios or Japan Airlines as some examples. And that has just continued. We obviously have our own loyalty programs as well. For example, hotels.com rewards or Expedia rewards. And we try to explore how they can support each other, the partners' loyalty programs and ours. So for example, a customer today can earn Avios points and book while booking on hotels.com, and also get their hotels.com reward points, which is, we feel, a very strong customer proposition. And so that has been exciting. And we want to do more of these types of loyalty partnerships, absolutely. And we're just exploring what the best technical solution is to do that.
Nice. Anything to add to that, Peter? I know Emirates has got the quite successful Skywards program.
I mean, yeah, we're big on the signature Skywards loyalty program, as Emirates' own loyalty program, and I think the focus was there. But there's a whole team working just on that, and I think the key focus there was to make sure that all the points that customers earned before could be extended to the validity could be extended, so they could use it, at a later date, and they wouldn't expire. So just to make a better peace of mind for all the customers. I think the focus was rather there.
Nice. Lots of focus on customer service. That's good. So I think moving on and looking at different sort of management methods. So are you guys trying any new attribution models that you are seeing well? I'm going to direct that one to Matthias at Condor.
You were cutting out. Did you ask me that question?
Yeah, apologies. So it was around.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Do you want me to repeat it?
No, it's fine. I think I got the beginning of the message, the question. Yes, we did, and I think that's a good thing about COVID, if you can even say that. Oh my gosh, apologies. But we did have more time on hand to optimize our channels. in terms of input-output ratios. We looked at our marketing mixes and our regions and took a 360 degrees approach. This opened up opportunities to rethink our strategies in terms of what channels we should be focusing on. We gathered data from multiple in-house sources, as well as external attribution models coming from external agencies to approach things differently, and some may even say unorthodox. Especially our external agencies had their doubts about our strategy shift. But so far, we are quite successful with our new strategy and are hopeful that the trend will continue, especially now that demand for travel has increased. And yeah, as I said earlier, we did have more time on hand during the first part of the pandemic. So this gave us the opportunity to actually go gather these insights, look at all the data we have, compare B2B, B2C channels, where are customers coming from what channels. And right now, I think we have a great path forward, as a great roadmap that we're using to work on different marketing mixes and be more efficient that way.
Nice. A perfect time to do a bit of test and learn, it sounds like. Anything you wanted to add to that, Peter, from an Emirates perspective?
So there was no direction of trying new attribution methods. We have our in-house attribution that was developed especially for us, that we are running across all paid performance channels, basically all digital channels, and we're just using that model. We've been using that, and we're basically refining that model in iterations. Nice. To be more effective on that. But you know, when we developed it, we trusted the method itself, and that's why we choose to rather go ahead with it. We're not testing out different versions, just the basics are the same, just new iterations to make it more efficient.
Refining what you already have. Nice. Great. Okay, moving on to the next question. How did you work with travel content partners during this time? Did you have any creative approaches to maintaining these relationships? So I'm going to go to Matthias at Expedia. I know you guys have quite a big content program.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been continuing trying to explore what the best way is to work with different content partners. And in particular there, I think the messaging, we've been thinking about both messaging to the partner and also to obviously the end customer. And along with that, we've also been looking at, you know, API accesses and how can we feed content to partners, as well as using some of the branded content from other marketing channels that we can maybe repurpose for the partner marketing channel. So that's been evolving over time, and that's still evolving. For example, you know, we're also looking at how can we land users on different landing pages rather than just the home page or merchandising pages, search result pages.
Okay, that's interesting.
And so we're testing a way forward there. And also ultimately speaking to the content partners and understanding from their experience what works, what should we be doing, taking advice from them as well, because they're obviously the experts with their own audience. And so we really want to work with partners who can amplify our own brand message. So it's ever evolving. And I think that's you know, not just because of COVID, but in general, just evolving for us.
Definitely, definitely. So just moving back to the meta search question, Peter, I know at Emirates you've had some good success with working with meta search partners. Can you elaborate on the process here and some of the results you've seen?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, meta search partners are very important for us in the affiliate space, and we're working with them on multiple levels. We have the big global ones, obviously, but then on another level, we're working directly with the local meta searches, as many as we can. And yeah, they've always been on the top list for our partners. And but the thing is that meta search partners are, you know, fare driven. you can only get there if you have the right fares, and then even if somebody selects your itinerary, you still have to go and compete against online travel agents as well to get the direct click from the customer. So in terms of partners, they're big, but in terms of optimization work that you can do, there's not much to do, right? In general, because it's all driven by fares and fares listings. So what we did recently was to try to utilize these newer type of products on these meta search sites, such as direct bookings or facilitated bookings, and then track those methods through Partnerize.
Yeah.
To make sure that we capture these results from these in-house developed methods. So with that approach, the customer is not even leaving the metasearch site to go directly to your sites. They can book on the metasearch site, but in the meantime, everything in the background happens through APIs. All the booking is happening directly with the airline. So we try these solutions, and I think this is the best way to optimize conversion rates as of now on these metasearch partners, if we're talking about the core results.
Nice, good stuff. So I think another question I'm going to direct to everybody. Have you changed your go forward partnership strategy? What best practices have you adopted during the pandemic that you think will become a permanent mainstay? So Matthias at Condor, anything you want to add there?
Sure. Yeah, everything we're doing, as I said earlier, is in most cases just for the moment. The situation is super dynamic. Our strategies are rather short term when it comes to partner programs, partner campaigns. But we did develop regular meetings with our, especially our meta partners that we did not have prior to the lockdowns. We appreciate the regular updates as those allow us to identify trends, recognize demand increases, certain O&D city pairs that are in demand right now. And these meetings have helped us to make the right decisions. And we listen to those meta partners as well. When they tell us, listen up, we do have a feeling that this region is going to open up soon. We have insights, inside knowledge from the government or whatever. We're right in the middle of the screen and the user searches for O&D city pairs like these, then yeah, we take the advice and we work with them together. And so far, those campaigns have been quite successful. And that's based on these talks that we have. Furthermore, also because of the pandemic, we looked at conversion optimization. How can we make sure that we take advantage of the booking journey of the meta partners? And so we're working on API strategies to connect our booking engines directly to meta partners, for instance.
That's really interesting. Some good sort of tips to pick up there. Any sort of changes that you'll carry forward, Matthias, at Expedia?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned earlier that we've brought together our different affiliate or partner marketing teams and under one division, and so that's going to stay the same, and that has obviously big implications for how we operate, at least internally. And we're quite excited about it because we have such a breadth of brands under our umbrella, and so we feel that we have something we can offer. Any partner that might want to work with us, we feel like we have a solution for them. And so a lot of it is going to be around figuring out what the best way is for us to work with these different brands and with our partners moving forward.
Yeah, I would agree. I think a real upshot of the pandemic as a whole is everyone has become that little bit more digital. So we do have a little bit more of a bit more backing behind us, I suppose, with us in our industry. Anything you'd want to add to that, Peter? Any sort of changes that you're going to take forward?
Well, yeah, I mean, Matthias mentioned in one of the previous questions that unfortunately we had a bit of a time on our hands right during this time, and for us that meant a big cleanup effort in the partner program. So again, you rarely sit down on a regular basis to to clean up thousands of partners. So we took on that project, and we were preparing. We were building very detailed strategies on how we will be going back with paid marketing, not necessarily affiliate marketing only, but how we can buy smarter and more cost efficient on our biggest partners, such as the meta search partners. And we built up a whole strategy that outlined which routes should we be switching on, when, what are the benchmarks, and how we should be working with them in a more cost efficient way.
Nice, nice. So I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to jump forward to the next question. So how are you, or will you help your wider organization understand the business case for partnership? Does the question of incrementality get raised, and how do you position this? So Matthias, Expedia, anything you can add there?
Yeah, absolutely. Incrementality, of course, does come up, not just for partner marketing or affiliate marketing, but for all marketing channels. And I think rightly so, right? We want to be spending our marketing dollars in the right places, and we want to be responsible with our partnerships. So for us, the best way to understand incrementality is that we look at the various different data points available to us, and we spend a lot of time analyzing that information internally, not just our team, but other teams within Expedia, to understand really how does a particular channel or how does a particular piece of exposure work, and then we test our way forward. So that means that we try several different variations of offerings, or we turn offerings on and off. And we really try to do this in a responsible way. So that means that we look to work with partners that can help us run these tests, because ultimately we also feel that it's in everyone's interest to prove the value of a partnership, and that will help not only us as the advertiser in this case, but also the partners and publishers to improve their own offerings as well, and that should help the whole ecosystem.
Nice, nice. From an airline perspective, Peter, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, from a point of business case, affiliates was always in a good place, because the efficiency rate that we are looking at, which is the cost of sales efficiency, attributed cost of sales efficiency, has always been amazing on affiliates. Very cheap channel compared to the other ones, and therefore we're only paying after the transaction happens. So it's very favorable compared to other channels. So people don't really need much convincing in terms of should we be using it or not. But what Matthias was saying around incrementality is obviously a question for us as well, not just on affiliates but other channels as well. So this is something that we're looking out for. But in terms of efficiency, it's a very good business case, always been.
Nice, nice. Hopefully Matthias from Condor is still with us. I can't quite see his face, but just in case, we will move to the next question, and hopefully he'll be back. So finally, before we end off, I think the question we're all asking each other, whether it's in the pub or the back garden or whatever, is where are you guys going to go when we are able to travel again? I know for sure I want to go somewhere really hot and sunny.
Yeah, absolutely. Although we've been very lucky in the UK
with weather
recently, but I too am yearning for a beach holiday, perhaps, or something. Also, I'm hoping that Sweden will go on the green list sometime soon, so I can visit family at home as well.
We've got your fingers crossed for you, Matthias. How about you, Peter?
I just want to get back to ticking the boxes on my wish list in terms of countries, but yeah, I also have to say I also miss all the affiliate events around the world.
Yeah,
so I can't wait to get back to those in person.
It will be certainly nice to get that all back together again. So that is all, folks, and I just want to say a huge thank you to our panelists for joining. We know it's been a really difficult year for the travel industry, but the efforts you guys have made to sustain it, ready for what we will all hope to be a swift return to normality, it's truly inspiring, and we really appreciate you sharing your experiences and insights with us today. So thank you so much to our audience for watching, and stay tuned for some more great sessions coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.